Good evening. Welcome back to the channel. We are live, aren't we? Yeah, we are live. Well, what do you think about that game? Just make sure that's on. 3 points, that's all that matters. 2-1. 2-1. I did say it would be a close game. Probably closer than what it should have been. Kyogo, unlucky towards the end there for the goalkeeper just to palm it away. The Celtic players are just walking around the park as we speak. And then, what about a goal for GTB boy called it last night, yeah, and Owen was on as well. That goal for he made sure he got that in the back of the net, that's for sure. That is for sure. Big result, big, massive result. I'll leave it on there. There's players walking around the park. It'll be interesting because there's no one in the Green Brigade section, there's no one in the boys section that usually hang about after games. So, who do you think was man of the match? Because as it stands, I couldn't tell you who the man of the match was tonight because it was a funny old game. Players just walking around the pitch, Celtic TV just still showing them walking around the pitch. It was a close one. The young fans trying to get tops and everything off the players. As long as they don't let off pyro and let off flags, I thought Louis Palmer was maybe unlucky taking off, but you could see that Brendan Rodgers was just basically making sure that players got game time, no one got injured, and that everyone was going to be fine for Tuesday night. Said it would be a hard game, never thought it would make it hard for ourselves at times, but it's 3 points, says James. Yep. Interesting that Paulo Bernardo never got any game time, but Yang was better tonight. Yeah, he was a lot better tonight. A lot better tonight. Brendan Rodgers just last walking around the pitch. James Dillon says the boys never turned up. Stressful to watch, but happy to get 3 points. Yeah, it was hard to watch tonight. It was interesting. I've seen some video clips of the game from people at the game, and there was no singing whatsoever. You could hear the St Mirren fans over and above everything else. You could hear sweetie rappers rustling and all sorts. For all the bad that comes with the Green Brigade and all the bad press that comes with the Green Brigade and the boys, they do bring something to Celtic that was definitely missing from the stands tonight. Did the players feel that the fans not singing, does that affect them? Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think, let's face it, there was no singing at all tonight from us. As it stands, I take it the Sevco are winning. I take it their game is back on. Yeah, there must be. Must be. Right, let's get to some of the comments. Let's get John first up. Let's get James, actually. John, yep, he says that Kyogo and Dyson fell out. That's 2 or 3 times this year. They've not passed it to each other at vital times. I'm not too sure about that one. Our bench is weak. Yeah, we've been saying that for about a week or so now. The bench is weak. Yeah, just hearing myself. The bench is weak. We've got a beer, Paul. That might help. Yep, the atmosphere is our 12th, 13th man. Well, it wasn't tonight. The atmosphere was absolutely terrible. I've had videos sent for guys for buses that are at the game, and they said, "Right, watch this," and there's no fans at all singing, which is disappointing. Celtic Park looked half empty tonight. Yep, it's funny. It's one of those games, and you've got to remember as well. You've got a lot of people. They've got this game tonight, and then you've got a game next week that is in Spain. So a lot of people, we're going to take 2,000 or 3,000 there. So 2,000 or 3,000 folk would have been at that game that are not there tonight. So I think that's probably why they would rather miss this one and then go to the away game next week and spend their money on that. And then people are saving up for Christmas as well. You've got to remember that. So atmosphere was very flat. Yeah, it was, Scooby Man. It was. And it's something that we need to talk about. It is something we need to talk about. St Mirren did not deserve a draw. No, they didn't deserve a draw. The atmosphere was very flat. And for all the negativity and all the abuse and people saying, oh, I'm unsubscribing to your channel because I don't believe that you're the Celtic fan that I like. The proof is in the pudding. There was atmosphere tonight at Celtic Park. And it was really bad. It was really bad. It was flat. And I think that affects the players on the park. Like it or not, it affects the players on the park. Did it have an effect to them tonight? I don't know. We're not playing exciting football at the moment. Nah, I'm not buying that one, Big Dom. I don't buy that one at all. Because when the Green Brigade and the boys are in the stadium, there's always singing. There is always singing around the stadium. No one started sing songs tonight. So, yeah. Right, let's turn this over because the Fire Stick has just frozen. And I take it, did they get to half time in their game or was it still cooled off? No, they're winning 1-0. Oh, bugger that. I ain't watching that. Mate, if you have your loyal boys, what was that? Yeah, I know they do, Jeff. I know they do. But it's disappointing. I've seen a massive drop. One thing that I have seen as well is, and I know this is completely off topic, but the Ange Postecoglou effect on Celtic. Now, the reason I'm talking about the Ange Postecoglou effect on Celtic is I've analysed the views of the channel over the last 2 or 3 months, and obviously it got to a record high during the summer. And there was always views during the night when people from Australia and that would be watching the channel. There's been a massive downturn on social media views from people from Australia and that obviously just followed Celtic because the Ange Postecoglou was there, and now that he's gone, I think it's my Fire Stick froze a lot and missed the old goal. Yeah, I think Celtic TV is terrible just now, but our Fire Sticks have been doing that tonight as well. Just showing the Turnbull one for the penalty. Would that have went in if the penalty wasn't given? Because you've got to admit it was right off his hand and it went right over. Would that have been a second Turnbull goal? Obviously, he could have had the second goal, but he hits the post. Hits the post, and then Lewis Palmer comes in and miskicks it. It just says you've got to have players coming in. You've got to have players coming in and hitting the rebound from penalties. Hitting the rebound for the penalties. Here comes the one from Forrest. I thought he was a bit unlucky as well. Just comes off the keeper. It just comes. I mean, how? That's a couple of games now that James Forrest has been really close. When you see the one that comes, and I think is it Greg Taylor that hits it? Greg Taylor that hits it, and then it just comes off the keeper. Yeah, it's Greg Taylor that hits it, and James Forrest just tries to slip it in between two defenders, but the goalkeeper is just in the right position. He just gets his hand to it and manages to push it around the post. So, I mean, that's a couple of times James Forrest hit the crossbar against Hearts. So it has to be said, having James Forrest in the team, a lot of people don't like him being in there and thinking he's a bit past it, but it could have been on 2 goals. Could have been 2 goals. Surely wasn't that the Green Brigade? Yeah, it is. It's pretty much when you go to games, it just pretty much is. Let's get some more of the comments up. Watching Bill's goal, great finish. Yeah, it was a fantastic goal. It was a fantastic goal. Was the boys not in the stadium? No, the Celtic, the boys group walked out at just after the game started. They did let off a banner, and I'm going to show you the banner. That's the banner that the boys group put up before they walked out the stadium. It's an interesting banner that they put up. And then they walked out the stadium and they obviously knew what they were doing because they then put this on their social media. No business as usual at Celtic Park. So the boys are going to stay out as long. Oh, wait a minute, I'll get that comment down so that it doesn't impede the screen. So yeah, that's the statement that the boys group put out. and they're going to stay at Celtic Park until the Green Brigades are back in. And then there's some people saying, "Good, give us your season tickets." Do you know anyway? Let's get back to the game. It was 2-1. It was a damn close game. Damn, it was closer than I thought. The banner was class. Yep, could not read it all. Can you tell us? Right, okay, I'll tell. I read it at the first half, but it does say the boys. The boys' statement goes on. Boys Celtic, no business as usual at Celtic Park. The boys Celtic and others in our section left the area a short while into tonight's match. While we would like to be in the stands giving the team our backing, the step was taken to demonstrate that we do not accept the Celtic Board's decision to ban the Green Brigade and the North Curve members from Celtic matches. Like many Celtic fans, we believe that the reasons outlined by the club to come to this decision are a smokescreen. We do not accept these reasonings, nor the club's overreaching in deciding to collectively punish hundreds of fans. As a fellow group at Celtic who exist to back the team vocally and visually, we oppose the dangerous precedent set by this set and note the hypocrisy of the board and those at Celtic who are happy to celebrate the cultural and political tendencies of our fan base when it suits them to their commercial agenda. There will be no normality from us while this absurd, entirely unavoidable situation is allowed to continue. So that was the Celtic boys group. They did put out that statement after they walked out the stadium. Let me just double check something else. After that. Yeah, so that was interesting. When you see the goals that we got tonight, the players, who do you think was players? Like Brendan Rodgers likes wee Jamesy. Yeah, he does that. He does like wee Jamesy. I think that he is a player that can still give something to Celtic. But you've got to say, we've been questioning O, and he hit an absolute cracker of a strike into the back of the net. O is just getting. Let me just. Come on, fuck off. So I'm trying to get the O. He's just getting his man in the match thing. So O got man in the match. O gets man in the match. That's unbelievable. O gets man in the match. That has to be one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And he comes on in the second half and he gets man in the match. That's how bad the game was, really, when you think about it. That's how bad. Delighted for O. Yeah, I am delighted for him too. I think it's fantastic. Hopefully he kicks on. And I'm just listening to what they're saying on Celtic TV. Give me a second. Defended the team on Hibs on Saturday, but fuck me, this has been brutal tonight. Yep, that's been brutal. That's one of the comments that I've just got. That was absolutely brutal to watch. It was brutal to watch, and I don't know. Where do we go from here? 11 Ryers just kicked off the second half. There you go. Baz Keoghle, Mr. Sitter, no talk about this. Scales for man of the match. Scales never got man of the match. It was, it is still 3 points. It's hard, but sometimes, you've got to win ugly, and you've got to make sure that there's Brendan Rodgers just talking. So, see what Brendan Rodgers. He didn't think Brendan Rodgers didn't think we started the game well. That was interesting. Brendan Rodgers said again the passing at the beginning of the game was passive. That's a couple of weeks in a row that Brendan Rodgers saying that the game was passive. We got a fantastic goal from David. Fantastic goal from David.
Very hard at St Mirren, then you give yourself a real challenge in the game. But we got a fantastic goal from David, brilliant finish.
He said it was a brilliant finish by Turnbull, says the Celtic manager.
It's a huge credit to the subs, how they look after themselves, how they train, they come in and they make an impact in the game. And I thought the goal-winning goal was a fantastic.
He says that
see the moves, how we walk the ball, lovely little quick combination, spin up the game around the box, and so happy for McGill to get his goal.
He's happy that O gets his goal. He's also happy with the fact that the players that look after themselves in training, the subs that don't get a game every week, they came on and they made a good account of themselves. Do you think that he played? There's the man himself is in the house. I'm just trying to just finish listening to Brendan.
Your legend.
Can you hear Brendan's
in chat? Yeah. I can hear it coming over.
Because that's one that, especially if you haven't played so much, you get out of your feet, you can shoot. But he showed a sublime pass, and the big guy takes his touch and finishes it so well.
It was a cracker of a shot.
Yeah.
Did they get out in the end? Because they had a difficult opponent.
Very much so. Very much so.
Well organised, fit and strong. Will always make it difficult for you. Like I said, in the midst of a lot.
They're both blurred.
We showed our
John, that's your TV.
That's your settings, brother. I'm in HD, 1080p, floating over paradise.
Right, Brendan Rodgers was really happy about that. He was really happy about that. Let me just move this way, get some more light on the situation, as they say. Perfect. There we go. Anyway, that was interesting. That was some game. Brendan Rodgers says that he was more than happy with the cracker of a goal that David Turnbull scores, and he's happy for Big O the way that he scored his goal. He said that he was happy about O getting some game time as well. He says that the players that came on, the subs that came on, made a good account of themselves. He says that the passing in the first half was passive. And then somebody said in the comments that he's training this passive football. I don't think he is. I think it's more the case that players are not doing what they're told at the start of the game, and they're not being as direct. They're letting teams, sometimes it's Celtic players, they can, when they're right up for it, they start the match and they go for it at 100 miles an hour. Sometimes it takes one or two bad passes, and then they're like, right, wait a minute, just calm down a bit. And yeah, give me 2 seconds.
No problem, Baz. Yeah, pretty much the same as what Baz was just saying right there, echoing the sentiments of the manager. See some people in chat there were saying like Kyogo was missing in action. I think when you find that the first time he actually interchanged the ball quickly at the end of the game between him, Home, and O, that's where the goal came, which I thought was a fantastic wee bit of football, just a wee bit of quickness, which we were lacking at times during the game.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is when you look at it as well, when the goal that he almost scored, I mean, the keeper just gets his hand to it. He just gets his hand to it. He tries to lob it, and he just gets his hand to it. Any other time, I mean, you've got hats off to the keeper for getting it. KP Boy says, let's get some of these comments up because we heard Brendan go back to it. Just get them up. Side to side passing is the Brendan way to play. See, I always love these kind of comments because teams are now sitting back a lot more. If Ange Postecoglou was still here, teams would be sitting back just as deep this year. Teams had worked out the way to play against Ange Postecoglou and they were sitting back, right? And it's just been a continuation this season. You would have found that Ange Postecoglou's team would have started passing it from side to the side because you can't run through a team that's sitting back the way that teams do in Scotland. So some people are just never going to be happy with the fact that Brendan Rodgers is back. It's a massive win for us, and it's just to make sure that we keep that little 5-point gap.
I mean, at the end of the day, right, what do people expect? You've got to retain the ball. You're playing for Glasgow Celtic. It's high quality, high calibre football. You must retain the ball. You can't just push forward aimlessly into a team that's entrenched on the edge of its 18-yard box. Every player back, perhaps leaving one striker up front, playing the old Craig Levein, 9 men at the back strategy. But what are we going to do there? You need to pass the ball around and hopefully they come out to meet you, try and break through their defensive line. You can't just be as direct as we all want to be. I know it looks kind of like schoolboyish football, but it's basically a training game of defence versus attack. What are you expecting the players to do there? You know what I mean? How are you expecting the players to break that down with their overall quality, shooting from outside the box? Well, that's what we've seen happen. Really, for me, it was teams sitting back against us as usual. If we don't get that early goal, we don't get them to come out and play against us. And the other side's lack of ambition has got nothing to do. That's mate. I'm just saying, mate, another team's lack of ambition and lack of competitiveness to come out and play football and want to win the game. That's got nothing to do with us. You can only play what's in front of you. You can only beat what's in front of you. I think that's what we've done there tonight. I think we're not playing amazingly. Like, I wouldn't write a letter to any of my friends in foreign nations and be like, you should have seen this game. We were outstanding. We ticked all the boxes. Yeah. We got the job done on a rainy Wednesday night. You know what I mean? And I understand that. Wednesday night. Sorry, Baz, mate. You crack in?
Yep.
Sure.
I'm just looking at Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton, he says a huge goal from the Celtic bench tonight, and clever pass from Ohm. Excellent free from O to finish. Another poor performance is the first comment. January when they're needed. Don't expect much from this board. So that's an interesting one. There's the Chris Sutton comment, and there's the first comment on it that says he's not expecting much from the board. What did you think about the atmosphere in the grounds? Because it was a bit quiet.
Yeah. I seen that as the Green Brigade were excluded, a lot of other supporters groups decided to stand with them in unison. And I seen that the boys also decided after attending the stadium to leave in some sort of protest as well. I think it shows, like, I've seen a lot of people say as well, right? Celtic Park, Parkhead, Paradise was a cauldron long before the days of the Green Brigade, and it will be a cauldron after it. But
no.
Really the supporters groups, if you attend Celtic Park, right, like I usually attend the games, right? If you attend, then you see the kind of atmosphere that the North Curve brings and the boys bring to the stadium overall. And then you see how many other people just sit around and don't sing, don't cheer. Unless there's a goal, they're not really involved. It's not like you're thinking those big European nights and it's an absolute cauldron, mostly because they are a late night game like tonight and everyone's had a wee half bottle of sauce on their way to the ground, or most people have. So they're up for it. They're up for singing. They're up for having a good time. But you cannot underestimate the atmosphere that these supporters groups generate and bring to the game. It's indispensable.
I mean, before the boys group sat over in the opposite corner against where the Green Brigade sat, I mean, I remember going to see a friend of mine that sat at the Celtic end at half time one game, and I sat and watched the second half, and I was like, you could actually, because the person actually laughed and said, you'll hear the sweetie rappers and everything, and you could hear people just rustling sweeties and everything, and it was like, anyway, get back to the game. Chris Sutton says it was a huge goal. I think it was an absolutely massive goal from O, and that hopefully do him the world of good. The fact that it was a goal that we really needed, because I mean they were playing really good, and I couldn't see where a goal was coming from. Couldn't see where a goal was going to come from. But we managed to get it. Who would you think was? I mean, O goes. That's how bad we were. Is O gets man of the match. And
but for a substitute coming on to get man of the match, I think that's indicative of, well, no one really played really poorly. We just didn't have that alertness, that quickness, that speed of play, moving the ball fast. I see a couple of comments like hitting the nail on the head there. I know, like, we need to move the ball faster. We need to have that, show that quality, that cutting edge football. But like, I'm just saying, like, when people go and complain about passing the ball side to side, and that, like, I know the songs as well. I know my history. Side to side is not the Celtic way. We play the ball from back to front and front to back in the attacking sense. You know what I mean? I understand that. But Brendan Rodgers has more of a...
But the thing is, it's different.
Yeah.
You stopped.
Yeah, because just after
No,
talking,
your
bro, I
screen
was like,
froze.
my screen's
That's
froze.
all right.
Still moving
No,
for me.
it's a different game now, though. I mean, no. No, the thing is it's a different game now. Do you know, Brendan Rodgers' first time round, teams didn't sit back as much as what they do now. When teams come to Celtic Park, they tend to sit back. I mean, hats off to St Mirren, the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, they didn't sit back. And I said they wouldn't sit back. I said they're a team that they were on fire. They scored 4 goals their last game. They're on fire. They were going to come out and have a shot. They were going to have they played well. They got the first goal, which was well deserved because their defence was absolutely terrible. We play like that next Tuesday, and it'll be unbelievable. We'll get absolutely threads ripped off us. What do you think?
Yeah. Can I stay out here, please? What are you looking for? Thank you. Just see them popping in the background, and I'm like, what are you doing? Peering for the skies, you know what I mean? Yeah, mate, I think largely, right, you can take into factor that we've had the European hangover at the weekend, a bit of tiredness, a bit of jaded look to some of the players.
Yep.
Bringing in really the substitutes and players who are on the fringe of the squad, right, and trying to ask them to do a job. Are they really match fit? Are they match sharp? Are they up to speed? Well, they've not really been getting a game. So you can't really judge those players on that.
Exactly. But then Brendan Rodgers did say tonight, he said, look, these guys are keeping up their fitness and they've come on and they've played absolutely brilliant tonight. He knows that they're not getting game time. He knows that they're still keeping themselves as fit as possible. Tom moves for what was that? Tom who?
You've seen the boys. That wee mob never left tonight. They got removed.
They didn't get removed.
Yeah, they left.
They never got removed. They walked out.
I heard.
They did leave in protest. I read. There's what they put up right after they walked out. So they put that up on social media right after they walked out the game. They weren't kicked out. So stop making up stuff online, please, because it's just complete nonsense. They put up a banner. There's the banner that they put up before they walked out. So some people need to say that they need to watch what they're saying.
Like
social media
these days.
Yep.
But you need to check your facts. You know what I mean? You've been in that position now. Like you're in chat and like you're a trusted member of chat. You're in here. You need to check your facts. You try never to really speak out and say something before.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the game, right? The first goal, you've got to say, from a St Mirren point of view, was absolutely brilliant. The guy jumps up and headers it. He's got a free header in between 2 defenders. He's in between Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor's shouting that he's marking the guy that's behind Greg Taylor and that Scales should have been marking this guy. Did Scales miss that opportunity to try to get the ball? It was a cracking goal, let's be fair. Do you know? And then O comes off the bench, climbs off the bench to score an absolute cracker, thunderbolt it into the back of the net. What time was it that O came onto the pitch, actually?
Yeah, I think it was in the 60th minute. Just going on to the 60th minute.
The 60th minute, and he gets man of the match. That says a lot about all the other players that were on the pitch tonight.
It shows how much the subs changed the game and how much a positive impact they had on the game. I think, like somebody said it in the comments there as well, subs changed the game. Kaiser, mate, that's spot on. The subs did change the game. I think it's all the pressure that's been on all those Georges Giamakis six-pack lovers out there who have been wishing that a guy who didn't want to stay at the club was still here, or maybe just looking at it and thinking to themselves, he was an option from the bench to come on and score a goal. I still think O is an option from the bench. He's been under pressure, snatching at chances, but he took that chance tonight and he needed it. He definitely needed it, and we needed it as well. You know what I mean?
A lot of people are slating Brendan Rodgers for the side-to-side passing football, but they're not also in the same hand giving him credit for the substitutions. So you can't have it both.
I'm sure we said it before, Baz. I'm sure I spoke to you about it before on here. The side-to-side passing football, the possession play of Glasgow Celtic, right? When you're up against a team that are sitting in and sitting deep, it can be very frustrating to watch, right? Very annoying. But then we've seen that when we went to Ibrox, how that developed. playing against a side that comes out and plays against you, a side maybe of more quality than other league sides in Scotland.
Yep.
It served us very well. We retained the ball, good game management, players and performances came through. Then we've seen it again on the European stage, how we've been playing on the European stage against teams that far outbox, outclass and outweigh us financially, players, everything, and we're there competing. Okay, we've not got that one yet, but for the rubbery green, the width of a midge's leg, we could have. You know what I mean? We're there. We're certainly in the mix.
We certainly are that. I'm just going to try and get the SPFL table up live, just to give us that little bit.
I just think these players, like Home,
I need to get
Yang came on. Yang actually played for me. He played quite well. He was more direct. He was actually beating someone. He was getting past his man. He was making things happen. Home, very impressive player. I think these players were brought in really, when you heard the comments from Brendan Rodgers earlier on in the week and saying that it was players who are maybe looking at leaving, then you look at the players who were brought in and Bernardo and Home, and you can say, well, Hatate, O'Reilly, they look like carbon fit-ins for them. And okay, they would have now, they still look kind of developing. But if we had been playing them for the start of the season, every single game, working with Brendan, where would they be right now? With that match sharpness, that match fitness, they certainly show qualities, earning a spot and definitely earning a spot off the bench and coming on, being an impact player. Maybe not starting for the very start of a game. Don't know about that. And certainly rotating the squad and resting some players is needed. We've seen that. Like, you can't go all gun-ho in Europe and then come back and not suffer the slings and arrows of such leaving it all on the field. You know what I mean? We need to really manage the squad a little bit better and rotate these players, have them getting more game time and be match sharp. I've seen all sorts this week, Baz, people calling for the return in the reserve league, and then we would have players a bit sharper, and all sorts of looking at every aspect, you know what I mean, and looking for players coming in and players out in the cold where they can get game time experience and really start to fit in and develop, as well as people coming, young players coming through the academy, how they're going to come in and get integrated into the squad and get their chance. It's multifaceted. A football club, and at the end of the day, I think the people involved in the football club are the Celtic, especially. They're doing a fantastic job. For where we are right now, we're still undefeated in the league. Look where we are. Look at the run of away games we've had. Going to all the most difficult away
still
grounds.
Undefeated,
Yep. So for me, mate,
James Forrest and Lewis Palmer.
Yeah. I thought Palmer was playing quite well.
James Forrest and Lewis Palmer.
Yeah.
I thought he was brought off just to try and keep him fresh for the weekend and next week. I think it's all about trying to just get the freshness in the legs, because I think there will be some changes. Ross County is always a hard way to go to. But Yang come on. Yang and Maida came on. The South Korean, he had actually a decent game.
I thought so as well.
People are saying that he's not as good as Lewis Palmer, but he came on and he made a bit of a change to the game as well.
He's a different kind of player to Palmer. Palmer, I see more along the lines of being like Elyounoussi, having that skill and quality on the ball and not really a blistering pace. He still has pace, he just doesn't have blistering pace. Yang, I think, is a bit more direct. He will kind of like use the half step and a step over to beat a man. More along the lines of, I don't know, maybe like James Forrest, when James Forrest was more towards his prime, and Forrest coming on the other side. I did think Forrest would do a job for us tonight. I think it's Maeda definitely needs a rest. You know what I mean? He's come off the bench and looked great when he came on. We know how much energy he expends. You know what I mean? Give me a squad of Maedas every week. You know what I mean? But for the work rate and the energy he puts in. I thought Maeda was held off. I thought Maeda was held off, bro. Rather than to come on and go back onto the wing, I thought Brendan was holding him for a striking option going through the middle when Kyogo tired. If Kyogo tired, then Maeda would be coming on as a direct replacement and not O. Turns out he did decide to put Maeda out on the wing, bring off James Forrest and put O through the middle as well, which turns out to be a tactical masterstroke because it got us the win.
Yep, it did that. It was interesting that he did put O through the middle, because I thought he was going to play him a bit further out wide. But it's scored a cracker of a goal. He taken it really well. I mean, he taken it on the turn, and hats off to him. Let's just hope that he gets some more game time tonight. After tonight, let's hope he gets some game time. I think he's the type of player that we should maybe play up at Ross County this weekend. What do you think?
Yeah. I think Mo should definitely be given his chance. Sorry, mate, I'm just browsing these comments here. They're absolutely minty. Somebody says, I don't know my own ma. I probably don't, mate. No, I mean, I don't know my own dad either. None of them. No, I wasn't there when when I was born. I just arrived. I don't remember it. You know what I mean? And I remember the tunnel of life, but I don't. Sorry. Maybe that's knowledge you've got. Maybe you remember your ma.
Vincent O'Brien
like
says that Palma is going to be a great Celtic player.
Yeah. I think so as well. I think
he had
all the key qualities.
He did. I think he had a good first half. I mean, he was managing to keep his player at arm's length. He got past him a good couple of times. There was a comment saying that he couldn't get past his players tonight. There was
I think
the
Greg
times
Taylor hindered them.
Yeah,
he was looking for Greg Taylor in that overlap and running, coming in to give him a bit of support and passing through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, brother, Tam, don't worry about it, mate. I'm one of the cheeky bastards. Never tell me not to mind them. You know what I mean, bro? I'll meet you down in Ibrox. I'll meet you on Ibrox. So we know, mate. A bit of bare bum boxing. You know what I mean? I'm bare bum boxing champion in this area.
No,
it's sort of banter, mate. You know what I mean?
But for Rodgers to, bring on Forrest, everyone's sort of said that, is Forrest still going to do it? He almost scores again tonight. What do you think of that?
Like I say, as before, I think Forrest, people make out like, oh, his pace is gone as a winger. That's deadly for a winger, you know what I mean? Because all he ever done was beat people with pace. I think you'd find that James Forrest had a few more strings to his bow than just a pure out-and-out pace merchant. Like you say, like you said before, he was always good for finish, good quality in the box, a good finisher. The goals he scored for Celtic at European level, people always seem to forget about him. The money he's earned is in qualification games as well, coming in with goals. People always seem to forget the work and what James Forrest has contributed. I think that's a bit of him being a Scottish player and homegrown as well. You know what I mean? Like, we always love to throw mud at our own. When somebody comes from another country and they cost us £5-6 million, then instantly we think he's going to be so much better than a Scottish player, which isn't always the case. You know what I mean? It just isn't always the case.
Yeah. There's an interesting one for Sean. He says, actually thought Palmer had a decent game. You can't get past the player if you keep getting fouled, which I thought was it's a pretty fair comment. The fact that I thought the referee was absolutely terrible tonight, but it's nothing more than what you'd expect.
Mate.
Yeah, it's
cheating beating. I was waiting for us. I was waiting for our second half penalty.
Yeah.
After we hit the post with the first one, so I was waiting on our next penalty, and then 9 minutes injury time, which never came. You know what I mean?
Which never came. We got 4 minutes of injury time, so it's and that was probably due to the substitutions, which was probably about right, considering there was a goal as well. There wasn't a lot of added on time because they're meant to add on time for a goal also.
If someone James Forrest every fan in the ground was looking for Taylor. I thought Taylor hindered Palmer when Taylor was coming forward. I thought he never really done anything 100% wrong defensively, right? Maybe the headed goal when he's seen Scales should have been covering the man who was in front of him. He was marking the man that was behind him. Well, if he was marking the man that was behind him, he was doing a poor job yet because the man was behind him. So, there you can look at that. And I wouldn't be overcritical of Taylor. I just felt that Palmer was looking for him. As someone said in the chat as well, he was getting fouled all the time. The players' arms were all over him. So he was maybe looking for that pass and relief, that 1-2 pass. And it just wasn't on for Greg Taylor tonight. You know what I mean? He just didn't play at his best.
Yeah.
Someone there looked at Matt. If Forrest isn't finished
at the end of the game,
Forrest
it was Celtic.
Finished, brother. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's it. It's far from finished. Celtic came from 1-0 down to win the game 2-1 against St Mirren at Parkhead tonight. Comes up with a cracker goal. David Turnbull, we need to speak about him because obviously we spoke about him. I spoke about him at half time. That was an absolute cracker of a goal with Turnbull on I think it was the 18th minute before he hit the post with a penalty. Who needs to be taking penalties at Celtic?
Joe Hart.
Hart.
Somebody, you know what I mean, mate, get Big Joe up there hitting them. I don't know, but like I said before, right, Baz? We don't get a lot of penalties, and when we are awarded them, it's not like I remember Ange Postecoglou saying, for one, the only time Celtic get penalties is at the training ground. We don't get penalties in the Premiership, you know what I mean? And the fact that we've had a few penalties this year and we're kind of inconsistent spot takers, I take it Hatate would have been hitting them still if he wasn't injured. But he is injured. Turnbull steps up. He's certainly brave enough to go and hit the ball. He's got such a powerful shot. You're like, just lash that big man. You know what I mean? Just stick your laces right through it. Hits the post.
I'm reading that Nat Phillips was brought in to rest Cameron Carter-Vickers, to give Cameron Carter-Vickers a rest. So that's a little bit concerning that they feel that Carter-Vickers needs a rest. But then again, when you look at the game at the weekend, he didn't look his best.
I think Phillips was brought in because Cameron Carter-Vickers came back for his knee operation and suffered a hamstring injury, and we were looking a bit light at the back. You know what I mean? The people forget that, the defensive setbacks and the injuries that we had there towards the beginning of the season, and how much we needed that. I don't think Matt Phillips will remain at the club. I think he'll definitely be going back down south.
He'll be off.
Because we've got Rocky and we've got Lagerbielke there. So we've got players there in cover, players in the background waiting to get their chance to come in. And like Liam Scales has been a revelation since he's got into the squad.
Yeah.
He really stepped up and been a revelation. I would like to say that I always recognised Scales and how good he was playing, even when he was at loan at Aberdeen and how well he was playing there. The fact that Aberdeen were talking about wanting to buy him and keep him, and then he came back and played himself saying, look, I'll just wait and see how things develop when a new manager comes in, and then I'll make a decision on whether I'm going to be here or not be here. He certainly took his opportunity, grasped it with both hands, and he's running with it.
Kyogo gets booked. Kyogo gets booked for, you can only say it was an obstruction by the St Mirren player, which I thought at the end of the end of the first half, and I thought that was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. James, let's get some of the comments. Something today says penalty takers are just brilliant at hitting the keeper's right post. They are that. They are that. Chalpel is in the building. He says, I thought Yang was great when he came on. Chuffed for yep.
Well said, Chalpel.
But there was no big score lines tonight. A lot of people were going for big, huge score lines, and I did say it was going to be close. It was a lot closer than what a lot of people were expecting. I think it was a lot closer.
Well, instantly, right, Baz, they went one goal up, right, and then through hard fought and endeavourous football, we managed to carve our way back out of the game and get it to one each. Then they just completely shut up shop. And probably along the lines, they were looking to shut up shop and then come out in the last 10 minutes and try and snatch a victory. So that would have been their game plan, to push out at the end of the game. Unfortunately, Big O steals in there first. You know what I mean? And we get into the lead. But you certainly seen after that, they certainly come out and try and play and try and get any sort of result. But that would have been their game plan all along. To stay tight and I let the pressure mount, because they know the crowd that is within Parkhead, right? We're going to start maybe show a bit of restlessness, a bit of anxiety. The fact the Green Brigade were there cheering and bringing noise.
There was at one point during the game, the Celtic TV commentary, and I think it was Peter Grant said, it was in the first half, he said, the players just need to calm down, because they can obviously hear the moans and groans from the stands, which you don't hear if you've got the Green Brigade and boys there. So it was interesting that he did say that. Great channel, Baz. Stephen says he went for 3-1. He was a goal out. There was quite a few people who went for 3-1 before the game. I did say it was going to be a right close game. We're going to get some more comments up, and then I'm crying at night because I am absolutely cream crackered. I've got an early start tomorrow. We can't keep playing around teams. We need to start trying to play through them with creative midfield player. It's easy for the opposition to defend against us when we're trying to play around them. But that's what we were talking about earlier, Patrick. It's easy to say that, right? And you say you need a creative midfielder, but if teams are sitting in their own half and we can't break through them, I thought the first half, Callum McGregor was playing further up the park than he's played in a long time.
Yeah. So, bro, we need a fucking truck with a snowplow on it to get some of them off the edge of the box. You know what I mean? That's what you need. Yeah. And I get that. Like I used to say about Gigi, right? I used to say sometimes Kyogo is like a lockpick for finessing and unlocking defences with movement. But sometimes you need to know when it's right to pick the lock, and sometimes you need to know when it's just kick the door off the fucking hinges. And I think isn't bringing that sort of impression because the way he's been playing in the past few weeks when he's got his chances. Seen someone else in chat saying, that our form is not good enough. How can we go from competing with a La Liga side, you know what I mean, and playing in Europe, and people say we're form is off, we're off the boil. We are certainly not off the boil.
We're not off the boil.
Like that at all.
It's a totally different game. It's a totally different game. If we beat County on Saturday and be 8 clear, we'll be 8 clear.
Yeah.
We'll definitely win up from Ross County. Ross County is never an easy game either. I mean, but if you look at it, the table doesn't lie. Ross County are currently sitting 10th in the league. 10 games played, and they're on 10 points. They're sitting on minus 6 goals. So hopefully...
Sorry, bro. Yeah.
Hopefully that's a game that we can score some goals, and the away fan base, for one thing, will be completely different to the fan base at Celtic Park tonight, because the away fan base sings for the best part of 90 minutes. And I know that gets a lot of people's back up, but it's the truth. It is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It is the absolute truth. The away fan base is a collection of fans. I mean, I know guys that have been going to Celtic away games for the best part of 30, 40 years, and they still go to Celtic away games to this day. I think that those are the guys that really back the team on. They spend a lot of money going home and away. The guys will be going to Europe as well. The fact that they're travelling up to Dingwall on Saturday morning, it'll be absolutely freezing up there. But, it is what it is. You can't play against the likes of Atletico Madrid and play the type of football that we played against Atletico Madrid. You cannot play that in Scotland, because teams in Scotland do not play the way that Atletico Madrid play, for starters. They don't attack the way they do. There's not the space. It's not like the way that the Martin O'Neill team played in Scotland during the early 2000s, because we just don't have that space anymore.
Well, other teams don't have the calibre of players to come out and make it a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Baz? They just don't have it. And they come with a game plan. That's what someone said there. Credit to St Mirren. They came with a game plan and they stuck to their game plan. You know what I mean? All credit to them. Well said. You know what I mean? That's a spot-on comment. Other things as well. You need to look at the contributing factors towards tonight, especially like the unrest with the crowd, the bands coming for the Green Brigade, all that negative press. I think what's needed there is mediation. The club needs to sit down with the fan group through the fan liaison officer, really discuss the issue, discuss what their problem is, and put this to one side. And let's all just start pulling in the same direction. We are here to support Celtic. We are Celtic fans. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I've heard people say that so many times online when it comes over the years when it comes to talking about the Green Brigade. It's because, I mean, this is nothing new. It's not the first time that the group has been banned, and I still say they're probably going to be banned for about a month. But it's something that, things will calm down a bit again, and then give it 6 months down the line that things will get all heated again. So but the club and the fans group need to get together and get around the table, as they say. Even though they have been in communications and they do have regular meetings, I think they really need to sort this one out. So anyway, let's get some more comments before we call it a night. Stephen says that he reckons St Mirren look good. Would probably beat them. There's that. Tam Mac, he says, only time I got my AFC in the building. Let's see what happens. Second round of fixtures. Second round of fixtures?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because
the second half of the season?
The second half of the season.
For 90% of the time?
Yeah,
let's see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see how many goals we manage to score. But then again, we're going to see exactly how many times.
We'll see if they can drag the supercomputer out of the Orange Lodge where they've got it plugged in that does the fixtures, you know what I mean, bro? We'll see if they get the granny out there with the old tumbler machine, you know what I mean, that starts picking the games. Because this is, once again, mate, for what's that, the 7th year running, first game after Christmas, and Celtic fans are away.
There's one from Neeps. He said, watch O'Reilly drop off after Christmas when Europe is done. Just like last year. Do you think that he'll drop off? I thought a lot of the players dropped off last year. The run into, I thought at one point we were kind of stuttering towards the league. Although we won it with 5 games to go last year, and then Ange changes the team for a few games, and we lost a couple of games.
I think there was a lot, right, that was behind the scenes last year that we didn't necessarily know about. The fact that Ange was leaving, right? Maybe the players had got wind of that. They knew that was coming. The posts from Jota, and it was like the graduation post as the class, or the graduating class was very much the end of a line. You know what I mean? It was like
so they obviously knew players. Yeah, they obviously knew players were going to be leaving, and people weren't sure within the club what was going on. The fact that Brendan Rodgers has come out and said, "Look, even he knew when he first came into the club that he thought there was going to be he was under the impression that there was going to be more players leaving the club. They had made it known to the club that they wanted to leave this summer." Whether Ange Postecoglou was there or not, and obviously he's came in and he said, "Look," and then they've changed their mind. That was the reason that we brought in 9 players. I have to say, if we had started the season with the 9 players that were brought in, there would be absolutely no chance we would currently be sitting at the top of the league with 5 points. That's a certainty. That is a certainty.
I think we've done excellent. You know what I mean? It's not to be... You need to sit back, take stock at exactly what's happened, exactly what the squad's managed to achieve. The European performances, the performances in the league, going away to Mordor and winning in their backyard. And post yet the sacking of another Rangers manager, there was only one more manager to go until Christmas now, you know what I mean?
There's only one.
Let's see how long this one lasts.
Yeah. Right, on that note, I'm going to give the last one to OK. He says the facts about O'Reilly, he was dying to run away before Ange stopped thinking he's going to stay. How was he? If he was dying to run away, surely he would have forced through the £10 million offer that came in from Leeds. If an offer comes in for a player, and the club don't accept it, the player can push through. In this day and age, the player can force the hand of the club. You know, the player can force the hand of the club, whether it's like it or not. Yeah. Well, the grumpy Greek wanted away and he got his way. Anyway, that's it for the night. We've had enough. We've been on for 52 minutes, a lot longer than what I was expecting. People are jumping off to go and watch Sports Scene. Never watched Sports Scene in years. I didn't know it was quite still a thing. So on that note, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world. I'll see you tomorrow.